is filmed in front of a live streaming audience.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smash or Trash. My name is Clyde, and I'm here today with AHSKANCE, not Chegg, as is illustrated in the lower right corner of your screen. AHSKANCE, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Hello. I am cleanly shaven, literally. I got a haircut, so my hair looks less scary than normal, and I even did a beard trim, all for you.
Oh my goodness! He knew he was going to be on camera. He was willing to do the bonus grooming. I'm going to turn off my.
Unfortunately, it does make me less of a Chegg, really, if you think about it, because the less facial hair, the less I'm like the little icon on the bottom right. But you know, still representing.
It's all good. But yeah, man. Hey, thanks for agreeing to be on Smash or Trash. You're the first non-Chegg guest we've had on this show. When I kicked this off originally, I was like, "Hey, Chegg, do you want to be on this? Maybe I'll have some different guests. I don't really know what this show is, right?" And we kind of put it together. It was an idea that came up hanging out on his stream, where one of his chat members, I think the name is Sin and Style, made the comment. We were talking about like whether or not we love ships or hate ships or whatever, and he made a pun about Smash or Trash, and I was like, I'm stealing that and I'm gonna turn it into a thing. He's like, do whatever you want. So here we are now. So with this show, the goal, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at 14, I think, different ships. And we're just going to talk about our opinions on them. This is not a review show. We're not necessarily trying to figure out which ship is best, but we're going to talk about whether or not this ship is trash or if it's to be smashed, giving it a nice warm hug. Between these two things, there is nothing, right? We either are going to trash the ship or we're going to smash the ship. And some ships are kind of in the middle, let's be real. And so that's kind of where this comes from. It's intended to be lighthearted and fun. Chat, we're interested in your thoughts as well. And so we'll be watching the chat. And if you guys have some comments in there, we'll go ahead and maybe pull those in as well as we're kind of talking through things. Chegg, Chegg. Oh no, I did it. AHSKANCE. One more thing, while we're doing this, we have 3 vetoes and 1 Uno reverse card. So At any time, if I take like the first ship or the second ship or whatever, as the starter, one of us will go first. We'll describe the ship, and then we'll declare whether or not we think it's a smash or a trash ship. The other player in our game here can veto that, say, no, you are wrong. That is not true. This is a trash boat, and let me tell you why. Or they can say, yeah, basically share their thoughts, and we can move to the next boat. If somebody vetoes, you get that 1 Uno reverse. The Uno reverse is unstoppable. Not even another Uno reverse could stop an Uno reverse. So if you play your Uno reverse card, that is it. That is the only Uno reverse you get, and you might need it later in the show, at which point you'd be suffering with whatever crazy call I make if you don't like. Any questions about how the game works?
Nope. I have written out 3 vetoes and an Uno reverse in my paint program, and I will scratch them out as appropriate.
Oh, and they're on the screen as well. In fact, let me jump over to our, let me find this little thing. What is it, this button?
Ooh, additional functionality, rawr.
Yeah, so on the screen, look at this. You've got vetoes that I can...
Hey!
Now, if you want to use your paint thing, which is a classic AHSKANCE move, that is, of course, certainly good to go. And this thing even says your name is Chegg, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Goodness gracious. No, this is a professional stream. It's a real YouTube channel, I swear. There we go. Okay. No questions at chat. If you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. AHSKANCE is with us. Welcome to the chat, Wi-Fago. Good to see you. It sounds like he's glad to see you, AHSKANCE. So our first boat of the day, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have you do the first boat of the day. We'll just kick off, have you share your thoughts, and we'll get going. And the first boat is, it's Los Andes, which is the Pan American Tier 9 Tech Tree battleship. I'm putting you on the spot, making you go first.
Yeah, I'm going to have to think about this one a little bit.
Feel free.
Tier 9s get a bad rap. Everybody tends to like the Tier 10s. Well, unless you're a Yodo. People don't like the Yodo very much. But Tier 9s, like they represent, they are a piece of they're the piece of the culture.
Sure.
I'm gonna say smash. Now I don't necessarily know all the high points of the Los Andes, so I can't really deep dive into that, but the Tier 10 has just made such a wild swinging statement that I think anything that comes before it's going to get drug up. And yeah, she's a Tier 10, and yeah, sometimes Tier 10s can be a little bit of a misfit toy, but I think Los Andes is going to be A-okay.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I think Los Andes actually had a really, when she first came out, the community had a really strong opinion of her. In fact, at first they thought this was better than the Tier 10. And I don't know that that's actually true. But I do think that this is a really strong ship. It's well loved by the community. The maneuverability of these ships, of course, is a whole thing. And Reddit was ablaze for months. Eventually we got the flames tamped out. But But you know, the boats have been adjusted, as many of us predicted they would be. Sometimes we predict that and we're wrong, but in this case, I think the community predicted it. We're correct. But no, I think Los Andes, even at post maneuverability nerf, is still a very capable, powerful ship. It's popular, and I think as we look to, excuse me, there's a new clan battle season. I don't believe there's been any effect on this boat. I think some clans, not all, certainly in the early weeks, will probably take Los Andes out, if only because it's fun. When you're still in bronze and you're just having a blast, you can take out Los Andes and play it, and I think you'll have a good time, even in a competitive mode. I don't know that it'll make it to the top tier, right? You're going to need a different kind of boat for that, but I think Los Andes is going to be an easy smash, so I think we agree on this one. Pretty sure. So I'm going to hit this smash button, and then it plays a little sound, so get ready for this.
Ooh.
She's smashable.
There it is, folks. We have smashed our first ship. All right. Los Andes has passed the smash test. Helmet says Los Andes is a great ship for tier 9 ranked. And then Wixatron says, before the nerf, it was one of the most busted ships in the history of gaming.
Yeah,
Not
honestly,
just this game.
I think the ranked
games.
comment's pretty poignant, because I do recall seeing lots of Los Andes when in smaller environments. So
Yes. Yeah. Concur and agree. All right, we'll jump on to the next one. So this one is Kaga. I actually just talked about Kaga yesterday on the Black Friday ships video. So Scott and I recorded a ship show for Black Friday ships, which is already up on YouTube. You can check it out if you're interested. I mentioned it earlier. But Kaga here is, it's actually a really fun carrier to play, especially if you're a new CV player. Torpedoes for me, so I'm not a CV guy. Scott's you are. You're bringing some CV, what's the word I want to say? Some, oh no, not credit, but
I want to say je ne sais quoi, but I don't even know what the hell that is. So.
Je ne sais quoi means I don't know what. And actually, that's part of it. That's good. Je ne sais quoi.
Oh, yeah, there we
I was
go.
going to say some credibility, some CV credibility to the game, to this discussion. So I like Kaga because I am not a big CV player, and torpedoes to me are the most like logical, organized, and they're the ordnance that carriers have that I understand the most. And Kaga has those in spades. It's got torpedoes upon torpedoes upon torpedoes. It's got a lot of planes, so I can kind of fly like a fool, and it still works out. For me, I think Kaga is a really strong boat. It's a good one to get into carriers. As I said in the other discussion we had on Thursday night, I think if you're kind of carrier curious, Kaga's a fun place to start. And she's I'm glad that you got a chuckle there. I think she's a good boat. I like Kaga. So for me, this is a smash boat. I think she's a easy pickup for people with interest in aircraft carriers. But I do think that once you become like a carrier surgeon, I've heard the more skilled carrier players in my life say, yeah, Kaga's okay, but when you get a little bit better, there are other carriers you're going to be more effective in. But I don't think that means that Kaga is not worth having in your port. You know, I think she's a good one. I don't know. Scott, so your perspective on carriers, of course, comes from a place with a lot more practice and familiarity with them. What do you think about Kaga?
Well, I mean, my mind currently has been stuck on people that are feeling a little sky curious, and yeah, I think the Kaga
Sure.
does actually work very well for them. She's definitely a smash. I'm going to throw that out there now, but there's a little bit of a caveat, and I know this is an all or nothing system, so I'll explain.
Sure.
The super interesting thing about the Kaga is the way that CVs are designed is you kind of have a bunch of bullets in your clip, and you find a few more bullets in your pocket as the match goes on, and you can shove them in the clip, etc. Well, the Kaga is just like, screw all that. I'm just going to put on a drum mag that goes around, and I got a backpack just
you got
filled
just
with
a
even more.
bandolier that goes.
Yeah,
You're talking about airplane
just,
regeneration, right? Is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the regeneration just means you get access to the rest of your resources later. Well, Kaga's like, screw that. I'd like to take all of my food up front, please. And they eat the smorgasbord upon the table right away. So that means newer players are going to have tons of torpedoes, tons of bombs, tons of rocket planes. And it's super helpful for them. Now, eventually, when you run out of planes, well, you've eaten your 4-course meal and you don't have any room for dessert, so I guess I'm just done now. But getting there is still quite the adventure, and she's so front-loaded. I mean, yeah. You mentioned getting to the higher skill end. She still actually performs extremely well. The torps are chef's kiss. The bombs, a little bit hit or miss. But as smash as she is, she's kind of like a girl that...
Oh boy, where are you going with
has
this?
some kind of weird kink almost, where it's just like, man, you are awesome, but I'm gonna deal with that. I'm gonna compartmentalize this because I like so much everything else. But those rocket planes, dude, you could just shove them right off the ship into the sea because it is a waste of time. It is trash.
The rockets are worthless. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, it so is. It's. But overall, she's a smash. Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. I can't disagree. The analogy was an interesting one, but I'm gonna hit this smash button and we're gonna move forward.
She's smashable.
Someone in the chat asked, "Is it Mrs. Clyde doing the sound bites for the smashed and trashed?" I just got a robo voice generator to do those, but for the video intro and the video outro, the thank you and the welcome, that is Mrs. Clyde's voice. Yes. Kaga's great. I think if you get a Kaga and you're interested in CVs at all and you haven't tried it, if it came out of a Santa crate or something, go run Kaga. Go have fun with it. It's a good one. But again, focus heavily on the torpedoes, like you said, right? That's the right armament for it. You can use the bombs when your torps later in the game if your torps are having a hard time, regenerating fast enough. But yeah, I too would recommend avoiding the rockets as well. Okay. This one is yours, I think, right? So Dalian, what do you think of Dalian? Do you know Dalian? Did you play this one?
I know of Dalian.
Do you want me to talk about Dalian first? I can take
No.
Okay,
It's okay. I mean, part of this is, if you think about it, smash or trash is literally like you're kind of eyeballing something from the street. You're thinking, I'd go with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I wouldn't go with that. Like, I mean, that's literally what it is, right? So,
sure.
Dalian. Well, I feel like on the one hand, there are people that hate this ship. And I feel like on the other hand, there are people that say she's broken. So at the very best, rare. But if we're doing the sitting at the park, just kind of like watching the ships float by, and I'm thinking, would I mess around with that one? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say trash, and that's not a big meaningful kind of thing. That's just I'm gonna eyeball that and go, I don't know if I'm gonna go there. I don't know if I'm feeling it.
Your first sort of Dalian reaction is not for you.
Yeah, I'm not dallying with that. Nah.
I'm not Dalian. Or are you dillying or dallying? I don't know.
I might. Nah.
I don't really. Maybe we're going the wrong direction with this wordplay here. Okay, so I'll take a step. I will veto your trash on Dalian. I'm going to spend my veto now. Hands are for you. Can reverse me if you want. But let me tell you, I like Dalian because Dalian is like those Pan-Asian tech tree cruisers, but she's got this, and chat knows this about me already, so they're not surprised. But it's got the more flat shell arcs from the Soviet guns that it has. And I like that. It's got the sub 149 millimeter guns, so you can take the captain skill that gives you more damage, but you don't suffer the concealment penalty. You've got torpedoes that are standard torpedoes, not deep waters. I think they only go 10 or 12 kilometers. I think it's 10 kilometers, so they could be a little bit longer, but plenty of launchers. You got a smoke, and I've just had fun in Dalian. Is Dalian the most powerful tier 9 cruiser? Absolutely not. But I think it's a fun little ship. So I think it's still kind of for me, this is still kind of a smashable boat. But I think that most people would agree with you. I think if you polled the community, hey guys, smash or trash the Dalian, they're going to come back and say, no, 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 and I'm going to be like, what? But veto, Gunboat Enjoyer says, okay, but why not Sejong? I think Sejong's fine. I think Dalian's easier to hit with because of the gun or the shell velocities and shell arcs, right? So, and for me, I just prefer that type of shooting. But it means that there are going to be times when you're shooting over an island or something, and Dalian can't do it, but Sejong can. So, Sejong, I think, is a fine boat. I just have a little bit more fun with Dalian. And of course, it's a tier 9 premium. You get the economy and blah, 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 blah. All of those kinds of things, too. I don't know.
So I guess now's the question of am I going to Uno reverse it? And the answer to that one is hell no. Because I'm looking at this again. So basically exactly like I said, there's some people I think that like it, some people that don't like it. And what I'm basically hearing is once you get to know her personality makes her much prettier. So you're saying, I don't know, I think she's kind of a 9. And I'm like, bruh, she's a 6.
Oh,
and
no.
That's about where we are. So
now AHSKANCE, this analogy, I don't know if we need to carry this on for another 13 ships or whatever. We may have one female viewer at some point. I know this is a heavily male-dominated game, but we do want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable.
Hey,
but no, you're right. I think
want to be a warmly inclusive, wonderful person. I try to riff around the theme of the show, and so
you're doing a great job. But no, it's definitely a boat that, again, like you said, though, if you haven't tried it or whatever, go give it a go, right? If you happen to have one, this is the kind of boat that I think a lot of people will get randomly and not on purpose. I don't think people are like, and that is a true statement, and that agrees with what you just said, right? Once you get to know her, she's kind of a sweet gal, right? You're not wrong there, because I don't think a lot of people were like, wow, I can't wait to go pick up Dalian, the day it came out, and they rushed home with their piggy bank and smashed it open to buy Dalian. Whereas something like, I don't know, some more popular ship or something.
I feel like she was a battle pass ship at some point, where it's like, you did the battle pass and you got her. That's cool. Yeah.
Not quite like that because she's a tier 9, but yes, the concept, I think you're spot on. Anyway, so I'm gonna hit this smash button. You're saving your Uno reverse, so here she goes.
I'm saving.
She's smashable.
All right. Gunboat Enjoyer says, was it a Harbin hull? I don't know if it's the exact same hull, but it feels and plays like Harbin gunboat. So yeah, you're definitely in the neighborhood of similar play. So if you played Harbin and you found that a little more comfortable than the other boats, then you might like Dalian a bit more. Okay, next boat is mine, I think. I always forget whose turn it is. ARP Nachi. ARP. So Nachi is an ARP collab ship that is a Miyoko copy. I'm sitting here I'm using my brain space right now to think about what do I think AHSKANCE thinks about Miyoko. I should just be describing the ship and going through it. So I know you got me wondering now. I like Miyoko. I hated Miyoko when I was a new player, because I didn't understand it. The gun range was too short. Why am I, I'm taking citadels and things. But when I learned how to play Miyoko, I came back to it later, basically. After playing up through Zhao, I came back and I'm like, oh, Miyoko's incredible and it's overpowered and the HE alpha is great and the AP works when you need it to, and you can angle and bounce shells with its pseudo trolley armor at 7, as long as you're not bottom tier. So for me, Nachi is just a variation on a theme. I also like green. I think this is probably the nicest looking of the ARP Miyokos, of which there are 4. So for me, Nachi's a smash. But my curiosity about your opinion on Miyoko is coming to a head here. So what do you think? Are you a Miyoko man?
Miyoko man. So I was playing, I wanted to do like I was playing some ships and I was up to no good, something in the neighborhood. Like, I don't know, but I couldn't come up with the silly stuff quick enough.
You want to do
anyway, I happened to play the tier 5 IGN cruiser, and
for a taco.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And then I played the tier 6 and I liked it too. When I got to the Miyoko, which the Nachi, they got some stuff in common there. When I played the Miyoko, I learned what a bait turret was, where you want to get all the turrets on target, but if you do and they shoot at you, you're in for a bad time.
Yes.
And Miyoko taught me how important angling was and how important it was to fight the urge, to fight the bait.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, so it was a good learning experience and honestly a great ship. And I'm just going to say that the ARP Nachi looks pretty smexy. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm liking the green and I like the styling. So yeah, definitely a smash. Solid ship.
Hujam earlier in chat says that we're giving you softballs and we need some harder boats, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's some harder boats on this list. I hope. I don't know. I'm curious what I put in there, but yeah, we'll hit the smash button on this one.
She's smashable.
All right, ARP Nachi. Getting one little fight. My mom got scared. She says you're moving with your auntie and uncle them ballet. Okay, let's go forward. Ooh, okay, Duca d'Osta. Mr. AHSKANCE.
The Duca d'Osta.
This is an old premium.
Well, I have a little bit of a story to this one too. So
Okay,
I
good.
sucked with cruisers. I started out playing the US line like a good little American. And sadly, the US line has floaty shells, and I hate floaty shells. So I sucked my way all the way to the Des Moines so I could play a terrible Des Moines and clan battles because that's what people told me to get. Yeah. And honestly, so eventually I started to learn how to play cruiser when the Italian cruiser line came out, because while it has that really scary weakness of the raised citadel, it has really nice plating armor on the side, which can bounce very large shells. Which also, I really like the IJN cruisers because they have very thick plating on the deck.
Yeah.
And then I played the Duca d'Aosta, which does not have SAP, and I felt, why is this ship? What?
Period. Like that was the end of your or question.
Yeah, it was just. I played ships where the SAP hit stuff, and then it's just here. It feels like this got released as an Italian ship before the designers knew what Italian ships were, and they were just like, we're just gonna do a thing, and here's the Duca, and I don't know, dude, have fun, play it in operations or something, and yeah. So maybe this one's a controversial, but to me, trash, because she doesn't feel like she fits, and I'm sure there are people that can make her paint like a Renaissance artist with that brush, but for me it just looks like I dumped a paint can over on my floor and I'm like, no, the paint's in the carpet, this is terrible. So nah.
Yeah, so Duca was the first Italian ship in the game, right? This came out. I've told at least part of my story about, maybe I've told the whole story like 10 times, I don't know. But when this came out, I remember I was at work that day, and this was back in a time when Wargaming would put out boats and they would go to the premium shop and you could buy them. It was a very simple time in the game. And this was one of those boats. So I used to call these tier 6 boats, especially the first of a line or the first of a nation. Like I call them like the Harbinger boats. They show up to kind of give us a clue about what the lines might be. And sometimes the lines change drastically. You talked about the difference between this boat and like the Venezia line, right? Incredibly different. My chat app just closed. Hang on one moment. There we go. You talked about the difference between the line and this, and it's definitely a thing. But the Duca came out, and its claim to fame was it had fast shells with flat arcs. It had really long range torpedoes that were really slow. And one of the quirks of this boat was, I think it was the first boat in the game that had different shell velocities for the AP and for the HE. One of them goes like slightly faster than the other. And then the thing I always harp on Duca about is that it's got really short range guns. I can't remember how short, but I think they're in like the 13.8 kilometer range or maybe 14 or something. So I came home with with my little PayPal account, and I went and I bought this game this boat from Wargaming, and I was so excited to try because it's beautiful. It was the first boat in the game with the barber pole on the top, and it has I just wanted it so bad, and then the range was low, and the shells it was weird when you're switching between shells, and the torpedoes didn't hit anything because they were so slow, and part of this was because Clyde is kind of only a medium player of the game today, but I was worse then, right? This is a hard boat to play well. I think that it's mostly a historical piece that's cool to have, and it is pretty, but I think it's a hard boat to play well. Mountain 199 said, show Duca some love. Duca is greater than Ellie earlier, and I can't agree with that. I have to say that I prefer Ellie. Ellie has a 16-kilometer range and really short range, terrible torpedoes, but that additional range lets me keep Ellie alive and do more work with her. I really, really wanted to love Duca, but I have to agree. I think it's a trash boat, but that's sad because I wanted it so badly, and I love everything about the idea of Duca, but I don't really enjoy playing it. I do wonder if there's an appropriate mode or something where Duca is like, it shines in a way that it doesn't shine in other modes, but I haven't found it yet. So for me, it is a trash boat. I don't know, man.
Co-op, maybe?
Yeah, but
probably.
Yeah, maybe.
She's fast. She's a cruiser.
She's also fast. That was another reason that I wanted to get her too. Mountain says, "Get good, Clyde." All right, thanks, Mountain. She's trash.
This boat is trash.
We've trashed our first boat. Oh, Duca, how much do I love thee, despite the fact that we just trashed you. All right, mine is Conde. Now, sometimes we have seen on this show people trash boats that are good because there's something wrong with the fact that they're that good. Is that what Conde is? I don't know. Let's talk about this boat. Conde is, in my opinion, the most powerful super ship in the game. I can't speak to whether or not there's a crew, like a carrier that out super ships it, because that's not my neighborhood of expertise. But of all the super ships in the game, Conde is the one that is the most ridiculous, broken, unreasonable, expert mode, like broken, super powerful boat. Now, I know what Chegg would say. Chegg would say, this super ship, it's total bullshit. We're going to smash, or we're going to trash it, right? Like this boat, no, it can't get away with being this good. That's wrong. And I have to say, I think it's a smash. I love Conde. I love playing Conde, but the problem is I feel this tinge of Conde guilt, because every time I unload and get like 8 citadels on somebody, I go, that poor man, what have I done to him and his family? You know, if his kids saw him get citadeled by me, does the child think less of him? You know, I don't know what's going on the other side of that screen. And so I feel this weird guilt about playing such a broken, overpowered ship. But I don't think there's any way to not smash this, but it's just so powerful. And it's beautiful too. And it's got that weird smokestack on the back that's like split. Oh, I love Conde. I have to smash it. AHSKANCE, I have to smash it. What?
Well,
what's your take,
I mean,
my guy?
I was a little worried that you were leaning toward trash there, and I was thinking, I'm going to burn my first veto, but you went ahead and clutched it in the end.
I should have trashed it. I should have burned your resource.
Yeah. So I remember Conde. So I was a CM at the time that Super Ships came out, and I remember how much of an outcry there was. Please God, get this out of clan battles, because there were not one but 2 Condes in all sorts of higher end matches. And the biggest issue is when you engage that super ship, you know, F key button, you not only burst fire, but I think you have improved dispersion, which meant, a destroyer is spotted. A destroyer is dead. And it was just in a clan battle situation with coordination, it was just death. So it was mean. Punishing. And people were saying, like, honestly, the way that you can play around burst fire is pretty spicy as well. I don't think she's ever gotten the nerf bat to the way that people wanted. Although I do think she got, she got a little flick to the nose here or there.
Yeah, there was a minor nerf of some kind. I can't remember if it was the dispersion piece or what, but something did change with her.
I feel like she's gotten a little bit of Botox over the years to try to keep up her appearances, but outside of that, she's still definitely smashable. Just in terms of raw, she's got what it takes. She does. She has it. So obviously it's a smash, and I think Wargaming should probably look at that and go like, maybe we need to address someone that looks this pretty. Like, you know, it's not supposed to last this long. The sheen is a little too shiny. So yeah.
Yep, you're dating an android. I do think shoot, somebody made a comment that I was going to throw out and share or something. Oh, Who Jam says that there was a slight dispersion nerf to the funny button, which is good. And I think one thing about, like, does it need to be adjusted or not? You know, one of the things that I remember you sharing with the community when as a CM was, you know, the game's balanced around random battles, right? That's the main mode of the game. And to be fair to Conde, is it really so broken that it's dominating every match? Like, when you play tier 10s, are there 3 Condes per side? There are not, right? And so
There are not.
they're kind of, I think, and I can't get inside the psyche of the balance squad over there in Belgrade, but I think they're looking at the economic adjustments, and they're seeing that seems to be keeping people from playing this thing all day long. It seems like it's working. And so, to Wargaming's credit, it's maybe okay if it's a little bit broken, if you're willing to pay the fee. Now, that's a non-money fee, right? We want to separate this concept from pay to win, because this is in-game currency. You grind just for playing the game. But it seems that in-game currency economic fee has worked to make sure that this boat isn't really overpowered to the point that it's the only thing anybody plays, right? So I don't know, maybe it's okay as it is, but I think if it was really, especially in competitive modes, you know, we do see restrictions in there to try to deal with some of the outliers that maybe work fine in randoms, but are balanced a little bit differently in competitive modes. But
yeah, she's a strong, independent French woman that is a little high maintenance, and but even still, I think you occasionally wine and dine her, so it just is what it is.
Yep. We're gonna continue on with a good smashing here. There it is.
She's smashable.
Useless points out the economic fee doesn't really affect you too much in clan battles. This is true, as long as it's full, you know, and not unrestricted. But Conde and super ships in general tend to be at least slightly restricted in clan battles nowadays, which is, I think, a good thing. But when you lose in a clan battle, though, the economy is happening. You know. That said, maybe you're willing to pay that fee to have the power in the game. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are. Okay. I keep forgetting where I push the space bar. That's how we get to the next boat. And here it is. The kid.
Oh,
AHSKANCE.
I mean, this one's not even hard. Like, we're talking about the watermelon sized softballs or whatever. This one's just, this is a layup. Kid's great. Could she be a little more responsive on the helm? Yeah. Honestly, I ended up playing the USDD line because of how much I enjoyed the tier 5 DD and how responsive she felt. And when you start getting up to the tier 8, 9s, and 10s, start feeling a little sluggy. But I mean, they carry a lot. She's got a heal. She's got AA, which is going to cater to my personal interest because she can claim space, she can smoke, she can lay down AA and just be a problem. And I think she's a hell of a support ship. She doesn't quite have enough torps. But outside of that, she absolutely rocks in the support function. Smash all day, twice on Sunday. Absolutely. Yeah.
Kid's great. She's strong. I don't think you could get away with trash in this boat. You know, pitchforks and torches would show up at my physical address, and I'd be like, "How did you guys? What? Get out of here!" Like, there's no way we're gonna trash Kid. She's strong. She's a Fletcher down a tier, and they added a heal. Right? They took Fletcher, a strong tier 9, they put it at tier 8, and they said, "Why don't you heal a little bit?" Now there are some negatives, right? You got a torpedo. You're down 1 torpedo rack. I think you might be down a little bit of gun DPM as well from the tier 9, but overall, the longevity, the staying power of Kid is what makes her, she can affect the game for the full 20 minutes if she needs to, as long as you can keep it alive. And the heal helps you do that. And so more minutes of gameplay, even if you've got reduced torpedo damage, even if you got reduced main battery damage, you're not going to have a hard time having a game impact with Kid. And that makes it so easy to just say this boat's a smash. This is a watermelon-sized softball. Did I give you a list of just good boats, Scott? What am I doing?
Maybe you had a longer list and you pared it down and you just kind of pared all the tough ones off. I don't know. But
maybe. I don't know. I hope there's
been pretty comfy so far.
It's been pretty cozy. We're not insulting any of these boats. It's terrible. I think we had one trash boat, but all right. Well, we're gonna say this one's a smash as well, I guess. Chat, argue with us in the comments. Tell us that we're doing it wrong. We need some help, apparently.
She's smashable.
Nobody's gonna get pitchforks sent to them on this one.
Nobody. Not
smash.
on Kid. Not on Kid. All right. Yeah. Chkalov B. We just talked about Chkalov B yesterday, or on Thursday, I should say, last stream. Chkalov's a good carrier. I've played a handful of battles in it, and I dig it. One of the things that came up the other day with Scotto is he pointed out the thing that makes Chkalov be kind of interesting is it came out with the tech line, and when the tech line came out, all of the ordinances that the tech line has, skip bombs, torpedoes, and rockets, they all want to attack a ship broadside, right? You want to come in and hit the ship broadside, whereas this one actually has normal dive bombers. And those normal, I think it has a circular reticle. Is that right?
Yep.
Like the German ships?
It does.
So the circular reticle, not only can it attack end on, so if your preferred target is in a condition where you can shorten your flight by coming in and hitting it end on, not only that, but it's got the circular reticle. So if you also want to attack from the side with those bombs, you can, with basically no impact. I find Chkalov to be a pretty comfortable Soviet aircraft carrier to play. I'd have a hard time trashing this one personally, but I'll lob it over to you, softball style. What do you think of Chkalov? Is this a smash or a trash boat?
Well, did you?
I'm going to call it a smash boat. Chat is saying
call it a
let's trash
smash.
it. C's Nuts gave us the trash icon in chat. But what do you think?
So if this was a tech tree, if this was a Soviet carrier tech tree, oh my God, it would be trash all day. I mean, it would be joy as you shove it into the truck and you just see the little thing crunch it down and smash it into a million pieces. I can't. I have rarely slammed things or sworn as much as when I played the Soviet tech tree line. And just no. But Chkalov is actually pretty interesting. If you play her in ranked, you're inevitably going to have ranked games where there's 3 battleships in every single game. And there's almost no cruisers because there's 3 battleships in every single game. So you've got DDs, which you can bomb. If you use the bombers against cruisers or even battleships, most of the bombers will be shot down before they ever get to the ship because they have no health. Okay. But DDs, you can get through and you can hit them. And then against the battleships, you have some pretty capable torps that don't necessarily have to be broadside, which is spicy. And then you've also got, I believe it's the skip bombs.
Yes, I think
is what else she's coming with. So you can work them down 2 ways, and you got bombs specifically for DDs. She is a ranked master. I have to say smash on this one. And because she's the Chkalov B, she looks sexy in black. So yeah, I mean, even more so. She's all dressed up and she's dressed to kill.
Yeah, and the right now, of course, not to sell you this ship, right? But if you're interested in Chkalov B, she's cheaper, right? So like if you were looking at a Chkalov and you got the B version because it's cheaper, not only does it look cool, but it's a little bit less on the cash
So she's
front.
dressed up and a cheap date. That's, I mean, that's solid.
She's dressed up, and you're going to In-N-Out Burger. We're just gonna get something. We're gonna go to Freddy's or Culver's or something. Yeah, but she's pretty good. I would say the camo on the regular Chkalov is really cool looking too. It's actually a unique camo that does not have a parallel elsewhere in the game, which I always like when Wargaming does that kind of stuff. C's, I'm curious. We're going to hit this smash button over here because I think that's what we decided. But if you have a reason why you think it's trash, let us know, unless you're just looking to spice up the channel and the video today.
I feel like she's a little unconventional.
Okay.
So you've definitely got that as a mark against her, but specifically, I have played her in ranked, and I think she is a dream there. But I don't necessarily know how well she's going to fare in randoms, because again, the bombers get utterly neutered by AA, and I generally dislike really slow planes.
The planes are not real fast. Yeah, I couldn't remember if there was a speed, fast, slow, or medium. I just didn't recall from my play time with her. But well, let's hit this button, and we'll go on to our
She's
next
smashable.
Okay. Did I start that one? Yes, I did.
Yes.
So the next one is you, and the next one is Zieten.
Oh.
Zieten.
Okay.
8 tech tree.
The hunchback kind of ship. So yeah, I think she's the one that's got the weird nose is what it is. It feels like there's part of the ship got missing, and she just they smushed the nose into the face of the ship, and you just have this kind of kludgy secondary thingy. Is she capable? Yeah. There are people that I've seen some Zietens in ranked. She's got the secondaries because she's on the Schlieffen line, and people really like secondaries.
Yeah.
But on this one, I'm going to say, what was it? Like the Herbie, the Volkswagen, the little Herbie car or whatever.
Herbie the love bug. I can't wait to see where you're going with this.
I mean, I realize that the love bug has a special place in the heart of some car enthusiasts out there, but man, sure. I don't want to be the dude driving it. I don't. I just feel like from the outside, it feels like it's going to be making the sound me as you're driving it, and it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do this, so I'm going to have to say trash, just because I hate to say this is for looks, but it's for looks, and I'm going to have to trash on that one.
Yeah, no. Zieten's fine. Zieten's fine. But you're coming off of Prinz Heinrich, right? Prinz Heinrich, not only is like aesthetically a cool looking ship and everything, but it like really, really works. And it makes sense. And you have the guns in the front of the boat instead of in the back. And like everything just like makes sense on Prinz Heinrich. And it's really, really good. And then you go and you do Zieten, and Zieten's like, well, what if we put the ship on backwards? And, it's actually a fine boat, and I think it performs fine. But like the way you have to change your play is not a positive change, and you have to unlearn those changes when you get to tier 9. When you get to Prinz Ruprecht, it's back to normal. It starts looking like the other one again. So maybe this should have been the tier 7, right? Put it down there and put Prinz Heinrich up at tier 8 or whatever. And things. This boat just is an anomaly, and not in an interesting and fun way. It's an anomaly in kind of a bad way. So I got to agree. I'd like to see us spending vetoes and Uno reverses, but I'm not going to. We're going to just trash this boat and let it go. So here it is.
This boat is trash.
I like that camo though. Camo looks okay.
Oh yeah, the color scheme is nice.
Yeah. Wildwood Brown says people like the secondaries because of the low skill floor. M2 says for me she's trash due to the gun layout. Yusa says I've had my ship get destroyed by more than a few Zietens. I actually had really an easy time with Zieten. I played through it. My win rate is higher than it should be. You know, for, you know, it's better than my account win rate and over a reasonable number of battles. Like Zieten, like I said, she performs fine, but like you have to like play weird, and I don't know. It was odd to me, and that was my take. But
For me, it's almost purely cosmetic. It's like showing up to
you're not alone in that.
it's like showing up to a date in like a green suit with a weird bow tie. Like it's not that it's bad, and it's not that it can't work. It's just.
But you've kind of weirded people out to start. Like,
yeah, it's just off the cuff. It's just like, what's going on here? I'm puzzling this one out.
Right. Alrighty. No, I agree. But it just starts off weird, and then you have to kind of get over that to figure out how it's gonna work. Red pants are amazing photos. How dare you? Is this one mine? Alliance? I think yeah, you started Zieten, I think. Alliance. I wanted to like Alliance because it's got a really long, like, you can be underwater forever. You can be underwater for so long. And I thought, oh, finally, Wargaming made the sub where at the beginning of the game, I can sail forward 5 kilometers, go underwater, sail 15 kilometers, and then surface again. And now I'm behind everyone. I can finally do it. And its torpedoes turn really sharp and everything. And I wanted it to be that boat, and I tried it a bunch of times. I couldn't make it work. I like that it's real steel. I think it's a unique looking ship. I think it looks kind of cool, even with the weird tumor on its nose there. But this boat's trash. AHSKANCE, this boat is so trash.
Oh man, my experience with this ship. So as a community manager, you know, back when I was doing the job, you're looking out in the community. You're trying to see what buildings are on fire. You're trying to see what arsonists are around, if they're going to try to light a building on fire, if they're going to try to light a cat on fire. You know, like it's really, you're trying to prioritize how much you got to be panicked about this. Yeah. And as soon as she came out, there were videos on Reddit of like, look at these crazy homing torpedoes. And oh man, they were doing circles and stuff, and it was just brutal. Well, the cool part about that video is it was sped up by 3 times because the Alliance torps are slow. They're miserably slow.
Wait. You're saying that a community member posted a video online and said, look at how hard these things turn. And to make their point, they sped up the video 3 times?
Oh, yeah.
They were like, basically, you're telling me people on the internet would lie to us, AHSKANCE? I can't believe that.
Absolute Reddit bait, and people took the bait, and it's just like, it's broken, oh my god. And I think it was that same day. I think it came out on a Wednesday, and me and Gaishu, I remember we went on stream, and Alliance was out, so we played it. And I recall at the end of that stream, I was crying with laughter. It's like, hey Gaishu, how much damage did we get when we played the first game? He just 0. How much do we get in the second one? 0. It's like, well, anyway, she's a premium ship. You can run to the armory and pick her up right now. So, oh, Jesus, that was terrible. Yeah, I almost want to say smash just so I can Uno reverse into a trash can so that it stays there and dies. Just, it's trash. Nobody plays it. And if they do, they don't play it to do anything other than to suffer. Like, oh, it has amazing turning torpedoes. Nobody cares. Just, nah. Pull the nose tumor off, let it sink and fall to the bottom of the ocean and stay there. It's crap.
Oh, man. So I remember that stream, which I definitely put this boat in here on purpose to make you tell that story. That was perhaps one of the funniest moments on that stream of all time. And if you guys, I think there are clips of it, because AHSKANCE literally is unable to speak as he is laughing at how terribly you guys are doing. And I know that the internal monologue for you is, look, we work for the company. We're supposed to be like, here's a new boat, guys. It's kind of neat. Here's the things it does well. Here's the things it does poorly. But all you guys were doing was poorly. And it was just
The best part about that, the most fabulous part is that Gaishu had started working with the company like 2 weeks or a month prior. So he said, I'm laughing, I'm crying with how terrible this is. And I'm saying like, oh, well, you can, run, don't walk to pick up this premium ship. And he's over there like, oh my God, am I going to get fired? Oh my God. I'm like, no, we had barrels of fun. Barrels of fun. Yeah. He didn't even know what to say. He was a deer in headlights. Please don't run me over.
He's like, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like, I think you guys do a pretty good job of showing the video, the boats for what they are. But this was just the most like truth-telly, just like, look, guys, this boat's bad and we're bad at it, and it's bad, and the games in it are bad, and it's bad. And it was just so bad. Oh, man. Ronan, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Same to you too, Bag, from earlier as well.
Radioactive waste. Ugh.
All right. So unfortunately, we're not spending any of our Smash or Trash resources, but we did have a pretty good time talking about Alliance. It is trash.
This boat is trash.
Oh, man. It's not a good boat. I feel like I have to play it now. I like when we do these videos, when we do this, or if I do a ship show or whatever, and like we talk about boats that I haven't thought about in a long time. I'm like, I gotta play that. That's why I played Shinonome this morning, is because we talked about it on Thursday stream. And now I'm like, well, we're gonna have to bust out Alliance. I can't wait for Alliance B to come out next Black Friday.
So before we go to the next boat, I just have to say, so you're saying that right now, and you're feeling the best of intentions. You really are.
I am.
So I'm going to forecast it now. You're going to go out in that ship, and 1, it's going to suck. 2, you're going to do 0 damage. And even if you don't die, you're just going to think, why did I do this?
That's exactly
at the end of it.
What's going to happen.
How do I know this? Because Bogsy, after like a year and a half, he went, you know what? I haven't played the Alliance in a long time. He did this shit on stream. It's like, I'm going to play Alliance. And that's exactly what happened to him. He went out there. Why am I playing this? It doesn't do anything. This is awful. And that was his experience. He left the experience going, bro, why did I even think about?
I know. But it's like you said, though. It's like, I got the best of intentions. I want to go try this and see what it's all about. There's an old like Ellen DeGeneres bit from the 90s where she's like, she opens up a drink and drinks and goes, oh, this is terrible. Here, try this. And then her friend's like, why would I try that? He's like, well, it's real bad. Why would I drink something that was bad? I want you to see how bad it is, right? And that's the Alliance to me. It's just... oh man, I don't like to bag on boats because I think most boats in World of Warships have a use and they have a thing. I don't know what Alliance's use and thing is. Like, I can usually find a way to have fun in just about anything, but Alliance, not so much.
It's the great equalizer. It'll make any person feel humble.
Yeah, something to that effect. Okay, I think we've beat the crap out of this dead horse. It's legless.
Whoa.
All right, you sir get to talk about Admiral Schroder, which I think. I don't know. This one's interesting. What do you think?
Whoa, okay. Well, I'm almost feeling like you're talking about Chegg likes to dump on stuff that feels almost too good.
I mean, from time to time. But that doesn't mean that's what you need to do. You're your own man, AHSKANCE. You are your own man.
I mean, there are a lot of things that people could call me, and I don't think a conformist is really one of them. So I don't know about that one. So my biggest experience with Schroder was in clan battles, because she came out around a clan battle season, and people found that kind of like the Napoli. Well, Napoli's a little different, but Schroder she had a lot of speed. She had a lot of presence. So she could just kind of like floor it and say, hi, you're going to deal with me now. How's dealing with me? You enjoying this?
Yeah.
You want to deal with me some more? And just charge you, just bull rush you.
Just pushing you.
So, and in that, I mean, she's definitely capable. But if you're able to kite her out, if you're able to really rip into her, well, suddenly she doesn't hold up. Like that almost that false face starts to falter because she doesn't heal fast enough. She doesn't quite deal with that focus. And then she goes like, maybe I'll just, hey, I'm gonna go grab some pizza and like leave, and then come back and bully you some more. It's a weird dichotomy. So in the sense that if you wait, like if you play a German ship that's got secondaries in it, you wait till like kind of the back half of the match when there aren't enough ships to really help murder focus you, works like a charm. But partially for the Chagish, feels a little too good. Partially for it's a little weird to kind of run it down and then go, oh, wait, shit, no, and then just die. So I'm going to say trash, and I think that's a little awkward. But I feel like there's enough that if you don't massage the ship correctly, it's a really good way to get yourself sunk.
Yeah, Schroder she is awkward. The community liked this boat a lot. It came out and they were geeked about it. They were like, "Oh man, I'm Schroder," and they played it a lot. You don't really see Schroder anymore. Now there's a lot of that happens. When a new ship comes out, there's a wave of popularity, and some boats develop fans that play it forever. But there's so many ships in the game that we won't have a situation. I don't think we'll ever see a situation again where like a boat it comes out and it has a huge wave of popularity, and then it's in like there's like 3 of them in every battle for the rest of your life. I think that's just going to be hard to do with 700-800 boats in the game. Maybe it'll happen, but I don't think it's like it was like even 6-7 years ago. That would happen, and a boat might be in battles like that for months and months and months. And again, like you said earlier, humans are bad at pattern recognition. This could just be old ramblings of old Uncle Clyde who doesn't know what he's talking about anymore, right? But well, Jaeger is definitely an example of that. So maybe I should just quit talking about that front. Thank you, Cease. Jaeger is definitely one, and it's one I complain about. But this boat has a lot of strengths, and you talked about them. The secondaries are good. It's got the hydros and things like that. But it has a lot of weaknesses that people forget about or don't talk about. I think it still has these, and I know it did when it came out. I think it has over the side ASW. It might have gotten buffed to have real air ASW. Chat, if you can fact check me on that, let me know. But I remember when I was making my review video for it, I had to over the side ASW as submarine, and it was challenging. That was also before I think submarines couldn't do big damage to you at close range, so it was scary to do that. But it's also got guns from like a tier 6 or something on it, right? They're punchy guns for the size, but they are like it's like low tier battleship guns, 305s or something like that. I can't remember what's on this thing.
I feel like she was a up-tiered Grau B, if I recall. Sure. I think it was something like that.
Something. And they're okay when you're close, and they're okay when you're working against like softer targets. But they do struggle at times when you're dealing with an equal tier.
Shill was the up-tiered spay. Got it.
Shill's the up-tiered spay. That's like the clone, kind of like the spiritual successor or whatever. It does have air ASW now. So I want to go back and correct that statement. When I tested it, it had over the side ASW. They did buff that. That's good, because they should definitely have buffed that if they didn't. And then, I think it was like they are 305s. I think these are off like the tier 5 battleship of the German line. So like the König or whatever, or similar. And they're fine, right? But there's a bunch of weaknesses that this boat has. You talked about its ability to generate heal when it needs to. Obviously, no boat can survive a YOLOing into the middle of the B cap 2 minutes into the battle. But there are times where Schroder needs to kind of wait and pick its choices. Intolerant Individual says 305s roughly equal to Zhao's 203s in AP. There you go. Thank you, Intolerant. That's about my experience with it. The penetration is really low for being the 305s that they are. I think the community would be really mad if we trashed this boat, like all the way. You've started that. You've said, hey, let's trash it. There was a wave of this in clan battles and in ranked. We're about to have a season of clan battles where people will be able to play tier 9s again. So the first half of the season is tier 9, and then it transitions to tier 10 partway through, which is, I think, kind of an interesting season. A small change, but maybe a good one. I don't know if I think we'll see Admiral Schroders or not. I bet you we will. But I don't know how many.
So I remember in clan battles, you would basically pair them up. You'd have 2. and
Yes.
they would quickly run over off to a flank or something that you wanted a hard push, and they would just roll up on somebody. And inevitably, one would get focused, would not be able to sustain the focus, and would start to peel back while the other one kept pushing. So you're still claiming space. And if you claim enough space that the other one goes dark, well, then it can start doing its heal thing while the other one takes focus, and you start playing the back and forth off of that. So it's like, it's definitely got, it has presence. I mean, if you're being run down by a Grosser Kurfürst, that's a lot of meat to chew through before it just slams you into a wall. Now, if you're like something that has just crazy torpedoes, yeah, sure, that's going to come out on the good side for you. But in general, it's going to run you down. And this thing can do the same, but she's a cruiser. So she's a little more, she doesn't have quite the same metal. And it's skilled players can do great and amazing things with her, but I still think there's just a little bit enough. I'm just not sure. That's why I picked what I did.
Yeah. And I guess when I think about the upcoming season, right? So Wixatron says maybe paired up with a Michelangelo in the new season. I don't know, man. Michelangelo doesn't have any armor. But that's a whole different discussion. But would you choose two of these over like Brest, right? Would you take, or would you take a Brest and a Schroder, or like would you really take Schroder over Brest? I don't know if you would. Maybe. And maybe we're getting into like clan battles theory crafting, which is not really the point of this show. But I'm really on the fence on this one. I really am, because there's so much of this boat that just doesn't make sense, and then there's parts of this boat that do.
See, that's one of the coolest parts about what premium ships can do.
Yeah.
Tech tree lines, ideally, you're coming up with a coherent concept that people can buy into, they can play through, they can do all that stuff. But then you have a premium which sort of breaks the mold, which sometimes you come up with like, this is a little bit chaotic. And then other times you get like, oh, this is all the stuff together in the same spot that I always wanted. Premium ships sort of do that. And I do think that this one, yeah. So sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No. This is the whole point, right? These guys listen to me talk all the time. Hang on, I got a little message here. Sorry, I was trying to multitask, and I should be focusing on my stream. I'll tell you what, guys, just for drama today, I'm gonna say trash. I'm gonna agree with you, and boy, I want to let you guys know how agonizing this is, right? Because Admiral Schroder is a boat that I've had fun in, and when I read it on paper, it had so many bad attributes and some strong attributes, and I took it into battles, and I'm like, I don't know why this boat's working for me. This is weird, but it was kind of working. And then there were things that I just really hated about it, which some of them have been corrected. The Air ASW is a nice addition from when I tested it, and it was over the side ASW. So, I think it's a fun boat for sure, but at the same time, I think it's got some weaknesses that just are driving me crazy. So let's trash it for drama. And then you guys, what I want you guys to do is go talk to Chegg and say, Chegg, AHSKANCE and Clyde are a bunch of dummies. They trashed this boat. Go bother him on his stream and say, can you go tell Clyde he's a dummy? And that'll be great. So let's trash this thing just to piss everybody off. Sorry, Donnie.
This boat is trash.
You tell all the competitive folks watching COTS that they have to come out over here and express their outrage.
You know what's funny is
those viewer numbers up.
I do think we are going to see these in clan battles. I think for sure, like they're going to come out. And I think it's just a different strategy when you. That's a sorry, not sorry, says Donnie. That's okay, but I do think that people are going to use this boat. It really is for me borderline. You want a middle of the road option: smash, trash, or ignore. And this is kind of, or maybe medium. Maybe it's a medium boat for me. But I think we'll see these come out. I think I'll be interested to see. What I'd really love to see is two clans come together, two Schroders on one team, two Brests on the other, and just see what that fight winds up looking like, which is going to be kind of crazy. Oh, and Tolerant says it's in the limited pool. Are you only allowed to take one? Well, that might help out a little bit.
Probably because the last time Schroder was around, I do think they were double teaming and stuff. So
for sure. Okay, I think the next one. You started this one, right? Because I had to react to your trash. So I will go next with Tsurugi. I like Tsurugi, but not everybody does. So Tsurugi came out as a tier 9 premium alongside the Bungo line. And has It's got, I can't remember how big the guns are, but it's got, I don't think this one has the big guns that we wind up with on Bungo, which are low pen but large. So you get the overmatch, but not the over pen. Tsurugi's got some like 10-kilometer torpedoes. She's kind of maneuverable. She's not the most armored. I like the camo on it, which is a totally dumb reason to like a boat. But sorry, guys, aesthetics do matter. I do like it. I think it looks good. In terms of performance, though, that doesn't do much for us. But for me, I think Tsurugi is a smash. I think it's a really rare premium that didn't sell well. And I don't know that it set itself apart enough from other ships. So that people could be like, the difference between Tsurugi and this other battleship is this, and that's why I would choose one in this situation or that one. I don't know that it's well known enough or that the difference is strong enough there, but it's another battleship from Japan that's kind of fun to play, and this one has torpedoes. So, Intolerant Individual says, I don't know anything about, or I'm not familiar with the ship, but I know it has a massive turning circle. That is a true statement. She doesn't maneuver very well. Useless says it has a high skill floor. What do you think, AHSKANCE, about Tsurugi?
Well, which one are you picking? Are you trashing or are you smashing?
I am smashing Tsurugi. I think it's a good boat. You got to keep me honest, man. Keep me honest.
So I looked up her gun caliber. She's 457.
Oh, they
Then I looked at her armor.
Oh,
and then I looked at her armor, and her armor on the nose is 25. So she is open for overmatch. She's open for business. And
yeah,
I mean, she's got quite a citadel, as happens with some of the Japanese battleships. So you can rip through the nose and do some gnarly stuff. 15 clicks on her torps is functional, but I don't really think you're going to see Tsurugi wanting to go in and scrap. No. I don't think it's going to want to throw hands, so to speak. I think it's going to want to throw shells down range, which I'm sure she excels at if she came out around the same time as the Bungo did. But to me, I just feel like she's almost heavy cruiser levels of battleship, like the under armored amount. And I'm not necessarily feeling that. I'm going to throw a veto. I do think that there are some people that like this ship. I do. But kind of like we were talking about with the Schroder, where she's got a little of this, but she's got a little of that. She wants to do a little of this, she wants to do a little of that. I think the Tsurugi does want to hang back. I think she's got the lighter armor that she doesn't necessarily want to hyper commit to, and that's okay. But I have never heard somebody say, yeah, I want to use my Tsurugi today. I've never heard that. I've never heard people just getting excited about playing it. They play other ships. I can't wait
to get home from work today. I'm going to play Tsurugi. All night. You're right.
The best Tsurugi I've ever known is Mitsurugi, who is in both Soul Calibur and Tekken, and had like the ability to stab himself through the gut and end somebody behind him as like a sacrifice squeeze play, which I thought was pretty cool. So I'm gonna veto. I'm gonna say she's actually trash, and that's where we're gonna go.
I'm gonna let it slide because I don't know that this is. I don't know how many boats we have left. I feel like we've been making pretty good pace through this, but I do think that that's a fair assessment. I think a lot of folks would agree with you. Useless says this is not a battleship to push in. You're exactly right. The armor is the weakness. Hujam says the weeb tax is heavy on this boat. Dredge Poet says Tsurugi can ruin a good day. Now, Dredge, do you mean when you play Tsurugi, it can ruin your good day? Or do you mean you can ruin somebody else's day with Tsurugi? Two very different statements. Wixtron says TC Freer is the only Tsurugi fan that I know of. Yeah. You mean my own day. I got you. Thank you, Dredge, for that. All right, we're gonna stand down and I'll salute as we slide this one into the bin. Trash.
This boat is trash.
Okay. All right. Almirante Grau. Pan American cruiser. Now, is this one you're familiar with? I feel like this one's like borderline maybe. Yeah. Okay. You know Grau.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
I'm familiar.
How old?
I'm familiar.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your familiarity. Useless is already voted, by the way.
All right. Grau is awesome. Grau is amazing. Grau has, and I'm even going to look this up. I feel like a ship in the form of Grau came out since that actually had defensive fire. But when Grau initially came out, she had probably the highest amount of AA that existed like in the game outside of maybe like a super ship. She is brutal, which I'm definitely a fan of. And then you've got this really interesting play pattern. She can take a punch, so to speak, but she doesn't have a heal. But what she excels at is if you're able to fire while unspotted, so you're able to lob shells over an island, you're charging up your F key, you're charging up your F key, and once you hit it, you're basically like throwing 3 times firing rate. You're throwing triple volume, just sawing something in half. And if you actually do the math, yeah, you're sea whizzing it up.
Yeah.
So if you actually do the math, if you stay dark for the entire duration of charging your F key just to go loud and start cutting through a ship, you are actually doing more damage by staying dark and then going loud and murdering stuff than you are if you just fired the whole time.
So to restate that a little bit, you're saying your DPM, if you go dark and keep your guns quiet for that whole window and then shoot for a short window, that total duration of time, your DPM is higher there than if you keep the left mouse button down and just keep shooting.
Yeah, if you were
That's
just
wild.
shot and you stayed spotted and you never charged it up.
That is
so it's
wild.
like literally it is a light cruiser that benefits from staying safe because you are rewarded with more DPM. And then if you not only can you stay safe that way by like firing over an island and staying unspotted, then you just have all the DPM. Bruh, this ship is amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't even feel like it's in the, I feel a little dirty. Nah, don't feel dirty at all. Bruh, smash in half. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. This is probably one of the best cruisers in this entire video game, period.
Yes.
This to me is what a light cruiser should be if we want all of our light cruisers to be broken. I love the Grau so much. And it is and you're right. I feel zero guilt when I use it. Whereas I do feel guilty when I play Conde. No, there's no Almirante Grau guilt. And I don't know why that's different. Maybe because the ship is in danger when it's shooting. It's a lightly armored ship. It doesn't have a heal. Maybe because I'm trying to HE spam you. And I know Battleship mains are going to be like, yeah, but the HE spam is the biggest problem in this game after carriers and subs and all the other things I don't like. And okay, like, but like it's a boat that does have risks to take, but it does it in such a fun way. And what you said earlier, you're incentivized to be dark, which is healthy for a light cruiser, a lightly armored cruiser. That's kind of cool, and it doesn't feel guilty for some reason. For me, this is literally, if I was picking like top 5 cruisers in the game, this one is on the list. I can't guarantee you it would be first, but it would be on the list, and it might be first, right? Like, this is an amazing cruiser in my opinion. It won the Golden Barnacle for Best Cruiser of the year it came out, and it is exceptionally rare for a non-tier 10 boat to win those categories. I should say exceptionally. We've only done 3 Barnacles, but it is rare. Tier 10s tend to take away the awards, right? And so when this thing stepped up, I don't remember what it was up against that year, but it took the award. So this is a smash for sure. I want to hit some chat comments here because you guys are sharing some ideas. Neil says, good ship, but it's just a griefer. I enjoy when I'm on, so Neil says we should feel guilt. When I'm on the other side, I use my DD to keep them spotted just to frustrate them. I get that. That is a reaction to this ship's mechanics. I think you're doing the right thing. And I respect the opinion of it being a griefer. Dredge Poet says, Almirante is really great. Wixatron says, if you have a smoke bot, you can use recharge and reuse the F button in smoke. And Intolerant also mentioned needing a smoke bot on this one. If you've got a partner, I'm giving it a partner tag at T0 times 0 tier 0. And then Useless says, the addition of Lisboa is really great for this boat as well. Yeah, this boat's rad, and if there's a chance for you to get it and it's not a financial problem, feel free to pick it up with confidence. I think you'll have a good time with it for sure. Any final thoughts? I know I kind of rambled there for a bit with the chat comments and everything, but
I mean,
It's so
At the
easy
risk
to
of
gush about
at the
this
risk
boat.
of dredging up at the risk of dredging up old or bad memories.
Uh-huh.
When the two, I think it was like Pan American, very pretty ladies came out in swimsuits.
Oh yeah, sure.
Playing the Grau is like walking down the beach, with a hand on both of those ladies, just like I'm having a great day. I'm having a great time right now.
The Boba Commanders. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, this is literally one of the best boats in this video game. And there are many great boats to choose from, for sure. This is one of them. So, all right, we're going to hit that smash button. Here goes.
she's a tier 8,
She's
but she's a 10
smashable.
in my heart.
I like that. 10 in your heart. All right. Okay. Okay, we got one more ship. And I think you led off with that one, so I'll lead this one. And it is Yodo. Yodo. Okay. Yodo. When they announced a Japanese light cruiser line, I was excited about it. And then they said, you're going to get 1,000 guns and you're going to have a 2-year reload on them. Don't ask any questions about why that makes sense. And I know that chat wants everything to be historically accurate up until the point where that historical accuracy takes away from their fun. And then Wargaming wants to say that, well, we built this boat and it's based off of something that could have happened in history. And they use the historical accuracy up until it's inconvenient for them. And so it's a delightful thing where the community and the company have actually the same opinion about how things should work, but they use those tools differently. I played Yodo when it was in testing, I think twice. I don't tend to do a ton of testing of boats. I'm busy with real life and with YouTube and with streaming and things. And so it's tough for me sometimes to play offline and do that kind of stuff. And when I played Yodo in testing, I had a great time with it. I was able to torpedo targets that didn't know I was there. And I'm like playing it like a gigantic destroyer and diving in on islands and things like that and being silly. And then I started working. I see Dredge's comment in there. Fun fact, says Dredge Poet. Yodo actually means hot trash in Japanese. Asterisk, not factual. But so then I started working through the line. I really struggled with this line. I think a lot of people did. And I think the internet mouthpieces, people went to the internet really quickly and said, hey, this boat's bad. Let me tell you all the things that are terrible about it. But today I kind of like playing Yodo. My chat knows that I like playing boats that are weird. I don't play it a lot, and every now and again I do pull it out and I go, let's play a game in Yodo, and I watch all my shells shatter and you know and we don't get fires, and I have time to talk to chat between reloads and all those kinds of things. But I just like it. I just like Yodo, and I can't help myself. I need to play. I think I need to play more Yodo. But I'm going to say that Yodo is a smash, a surprise smash, perhaps, for people in chat, because you guys are going to say, no, Clyde, you're a dumb. And maybe, you know, AHSKANCE can save us if he wants to say that I'm wrong. But I don't know, man. I think Yodo works, but you have to let Yodo tell you how to play Yodo rather than trying to play Yodo like you wish it could be played. But AHSKANCE, I have no idea your take on Yodo. Is this a boat that clicks? You actually mentioned it earlier in a negative light, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to trash it here. So I'm going to say Yodo is a smash.
Well, the question is, do I go AHSKANCE all over this thing? Because I'm known to have a contrarian opinion.
Sure.
So, all right. I'll this is the last boat. I'll do a little. I'll feel a little long-winded here.
Have some fun.
I enjoy game design. I've been very interested. I analyze games. I analyze systems. Why do they do things this way? Try to find patterns, stuff like that. And ultimately, Yodo, some game designer somewhere thought, well, we have a lot of cruisers that just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And yeah, people really like that. But we already have so many cruisers that do this. Why don't we do something else and have a cruiser that really leans on its torpedoes? And that's kind of what the line became. It became this big line filled with cruisers that can throw really powerful fish in the water. They're not super fast, but I mean, if they hit, they hurt. And it has this large salvo of guns. Whereas players are like, this has so many guns. Obviously, it's a gunship. I mean, obviously, right? And it's like, well, you'd think that, but actually, and people were not excited about that. That's kind of like, hey, I'm going to sell you a boat that floats in the water, right? No, 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 no. You use it as a hat. What?
Yeah.
What,
So you're
huh?
and you were working as a CM when this came out. So your experience was fielding the reaction from the community, I suppose.
Yeah, I was
imagine,
aware.
was there anybody who had a particularly interesting rant about Yodo? Or is that not a memory you want to go back to? Do you want to just leave that in the past? That's fine. But the answer could be
both
no,
inside and outside of the company. Yes. So it's a really divisive line because some game designer decided, I have this idea, let's go in a new direction and let's really lead on torpedoes. And like you see that in a few other things with like the Pan Asian cruisers.
Yeah.
They have really high fire rate, which is kind of what people thought, hey, we want the IJN to do, but they're also just like super squishy. And then also they have this torpedo thing with the deep waters, and the deep waters don't suck, but basically it's like the Yodo line is
situations where they don't work too on the Pan Asian line.
Yeah. Like the Yodo line is like the first, let's do torps, and then the Pan Asian was like, well, let's do torps. They softened on that and went a little further with the guns, and Pan Asian probably hit the mix better than the Yodo line did.
It's probably true, yeah.
But the question is, does the Yodo line work? And I have had some success playing the lower tiers, which ironically, if you look at the test history, you'll see that like all the tiers 9 and below kept getting nerfed over and over in testing, and the Yodo kept getting buffed over and over in testing. And what that means is in testing, when they're looking at like the markers that people are getting out of their play experience, tier 9 and below was overperforming, tier 10 was underperforming.
Right.
And people might say that Yodo has just never climbed to where that tier 10 feels like it's supposed to be. Whereas the other ones, if you play some of the lower tiers and ranked, which again, 3 battleships every game, you can flood the water with these actually pretty potent torpedoes. And if you want to take a salvo, you've got a nice meaty salvo that's probably going to start a fire because it's a nice meaty salvo. And because you have 15 seconds before you can shoot again, you have the option of, is a battleship going to shoot me? Oh, it looks like he is. I'm just not going to shoot again. Engage cloak. And then you go back to torping and you wait for your time and boom, you shoot. So,
and that's a strange strength that people don't think of as a strength, right? Like the idea that your reloads are long, that means that, you know, there's a 5-second window when you can screw up your detection because your gun bloom goes away in 20 seconds. And so you've got a 5-second decision window to either let it go dark or not. And as players, we always want to be shooting all the time. Like that's the thing that gets me killed in every battle is like, well, I could probably get 300 damage on that guy as I have 1200 damage left on my ship myself. I think I'll try to get that. Right. But that is an interesting way when you think about the rhythm of how this ship plays. I know I kind of jumped in on you there, but please continue.
Well, it's perfectly okay. So like in those lower tiers, I think it super works. And in the higher tiers, one of the biggest thing about tier 10 is the higher up in tiers you go, the faster the gameplay is, the more aggressive the gameplay is, the faster the more accurate the guns are, the harder the guns hit. So the tempo kind of changes, and Yodo sort of carries that tier 7 play into tier 10, and it just doesn't quite feel like it fits. And then further, just as a fun little fact, I got to help out on, oh my God, there's this like waterline program or whatever. I did a waterline with Bogsy, and we talked about the upcoming IJN cruisers, and I mentioned all the secondaries or whatever they had in there. It said, goodbye, planes. She's pretty potent if you punch her up for AA. So what this means is if Yodo she's not a frontliner, she's doing the IJN cruiser thing of she wants to set up an ambush. She wants to put fish in the water. Oh man, I took a fish and oh my God, that really hurt a lot. And then all of a sudden, boom, you have a barrage coming out of somewhere. And then potentially another one if she wants to continue the engagement. So like there's a real possibility of jumping on stuff. But as was pointed out in some of the internal discussions that I had, the fish may never hit. you may never get a torpedo that lands on anything, and that's a real feels bad moment.
Yeah.
And then the guns,
Yeah.
okay, they're there, but so you're stuck in this weird situation. But could she play out at the distance where if a CV's trying to keep her lit or go after her, the CV's going to get kind of pushed off? Yeah. So she can kind of maintain herself. But at the same time, so I'm going to have to veto. I'm going to have to say trash. I feel that the community response is unwarranted because I think the community had a vision of this is what IJN light cruisers should be. And the game designer that came up with cool idea, I'm going to liken that to like Star Wars Episode 8. Divisive film, but I think Star Wars 1 through 7 kind of like stayed in a lane. And then 8 was just like, meh. And they drove off course and went cross country. And people were just like, what the hell is this? Where did this come from? Including me. Oh, I hated that film.
I think that's unkind to Yodo, what you've just said.
It's everybody had a vision for kind of what that next step would be. And it was like
you said, there was a lane, there was an established expectation, and they did a different thing. Yeah.
So they were hoping for Duke Nukem Forever. Instead, they got My Little Pony. And I mean, maybe there's some value, it's got a fan base, but it's just, this was not what I saw coming. So I'm going to have to veto. I'm going to have to say trash.
Okay.
Just is what it is.
Yeah. I'll take the veto here. I'm thinking a little bit about this. Like, I think what people expected when they heard Japanese light cruiser line, what everybody expected. Chat knows what everybody expected. They were looking for 155 Mogami over and over and over again, right? They wanted 6 of those. And I don't know that there's not room for a line that's like that someday, probably with some quirk that they haven't invented yet. A timed consumable for Def AA, right? Or something cute like that. But like, there could still be room for that kind of a thing. But I do think that we were all kind of expecting something like, yes, 155 Mogami Suzuya, as Intolerant mentions in the chat there. Useless says, I really liked the Omono. I agree. I think Omono, to me, that's the tier 7, is the most what I wanted ship in this line, for sure. But I think there's still some room for some opportunity for some cool Japanese lights. They may wind up being a line of premiums like Suzuya, and we may get some sister ships or ships in a after a manner of style like that we wind up having in the game. So, I think I'm not gonna Uno reverse you. It's always dramatic to have an Uno reverse. I'm not gonna do that to say that Yodo is in fact a good ship. I think this discussion proves that it's definitely divisive, and I think it does lean more towards the trash bin, probably, certainly in the eyes of the community. But no, I'm in a weird way, I'm glad Yodo exists. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad it's there, even though that is not what I would have picked. It's not what chat would have picked. It's not what Reddit would have picked. It's, it sounds like not what you would have picked either.
I think without Yodo, you don't have Pan-Asian cruisers. And I know Pan-Asian cruisers are probably a little bit of a niche pick, but I actually think it's a pretty solid line. It does exactly what you expect it to be. It holds down a lane, it puts a lot of fire down range, and it also has a lot of torpedo threat that kind of keeps people honest. And again, that may not necessarily be people's bag, because they might be looking for sturdier ships that have a little more mobility or stuff that can get a little more into the fight and just kind of throw down. And that's not necessarily what they are. But I think they have a really solid place. And I appreciate that, as a game designer took a swing, got a whiff, and then they found kind of a better spot. And I do want to say that the one thing that I really appreciate about the Yodo line's design is, I believe, when people talk about Zhao, for instance, I think Zhao got buffed. It got a little bit of love after the Suzuki came out. I think it was,
yeah, somewhere in that window. Yeah.
People were talking about like, well, the Zhao has turret angles. You can't use all the turrets, and you want to use all the turrets. Sure, you do. You want to use all the turrets, but if you think about it as an ambush line, it's extremely accurate. You get into a position, you fire off 15 AP shells, you score just a slam of a hit, and then you tuck in a little bit and you finish them off. So there's that ambush concept. Shimikaze, ambush concept. Like there's an ambush vibe going on, and I do think the Yodo has that. But like, imagine if obviously they hadn't come up with this concept yet, but imagine if the Yodo had like the Grau kind of vibe to it. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
ambush comes in, you stay dark, you charge up, you charge up, you charge up, and then you unleash hell in just a large volley or prepped strike, so to speak. And then you kind of make that decision. Do I go dark, try to hide again and slink around, or do I just continue the engagement? Could have been spicy. Obviously didn't happen, but
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And the ambush aspect of that is kind of intriguing. Like Useless mentions in here something you talked about a little bit as well. Not to drag this one out, but I think Yodo's just, because Yodo is what it is, it's an interesting, for somebody who's interested in game design, this is a really interesting conversation, right? You know what I mean? So for those of you guys who are not, sorry, we're going to keep going for a minute. But Useless says, any ship that relies on torpedoes is inconsistent from one game to the next. And you mentioned that, some of the conversations you guys had, like within the company, where, hey man, torpedoes are hard to hit. You're going to put a lot of fish in the water. You might launch 80 torpedoes in a battle or something, or 100 torpedoes in a battle. And if you landed 3 of them, you had a good game. But if you landed none of them, which is not much more inaccurate when you think about, 3 out of 100 is 3% accuracy, 0 out of 100 is 0% accuracy. The difference between those two is not that much, but the damage difference, the game impact difference feels different. You talked about kind of a feels bad moment, and I agree. I think relying on the torpedoes alone would obviously make this line really challenging. Why would I not just play Shimakaze? I'm more stealthy. You just would, right? But like the ability to have that with some of the guns leaning in to provide some support there is good too. I did find that the guns, it seemed to me, and I'd like to go look at the numbers again and maybe try the boat, play 5 battles in Yodo some Saturday or something. The guns, I seem like I get a lot of 2,000 and 3,000 damage salvos, right? A lot of shatter shells, things like that. I don't feel like I get the fires that I wish I could get on it. But there is a skill in putting those shells in the right place. Quit hitting the turrets, Clyde. Why don't you get it on the superstructure, bro? Things like that is going to help you quite a bit. And I think you need those guns to do some of the work. Because like you said, the torpedoes, you and Useless both said the torpedoes just kind of, they're going to be inconsistent. There are going to be times when you have an amazing game, and those you'll remember and you'll tell your friends about around the water cooler at work the next day or whatever. But there'll be those days where you're just not getting it done, and the shells are shattering and it feels frustrating. And that is one of the things that makes Yodo kind of a little bit harder to love. But I think the opportunity there for some amazing games is definitely present. They're just not going to be, it's not going to be every single game like I think a lot of people would prefer. Okay, Yoda, let's see if chat's got anything. And then I think we're at the end of our run here. The camo. Oh, somebody said, by the way, I missed it earlier. I did want to call it out. Smash the camo, though. These camos are dope. I think whoever designed these did a bang-up job. I love these. And the green camo on it is kind of a little tongue-in-cheek Yoda joke, speaking of Star Wars. But this one here, I think great camos if you were lucky enough to get those. Dredge says, Yodo design in a vacuum is cool, but it fails when it meets the reality that is the meta in 2025. That's I think kind of in line with what we've been talking about, right? Like the game kind of expects some things from you, and not all of Yodo's things are coming together all at one time. Wargaming values, Hujam says, Wargaming values Torpedo Alpha as extremely valuable. I do think that the torpedoes are strong, but again, you got to get them on target, right? If they don't hit, then you don't get any value. And so that's one thing as players where we need to be shooting those torpedoes all the time. You need to be in a position where the torpedoes can always leave and maybe go somewhere valuable. So if you're tucked in a rocky, craggy area, too many islands around, then you've just decided that you're not going to use your torpedoes. And that's on you, right? And that isn't like pushing it at Hujam, but as the player who is captaining the Yodo, think about your positioning and where can you be where you can actually utilize all of your armaments, because you can't just get by with one. This is a boat that doesn't let you just use one. And then Intolerance says Yodo also suffers from fragile turrets. A Colbert salvo can knock out half of a Shimanto's guns, or the Yodo line, not Yodo specifically. I didn't experience that I remember, but I won't deny it. I don't know that that's true or not, but it could be. The turrets are small, and smaller light cruiser turrets tend to be damageable. Whether Colbert can do it, I don't know. But like something with heavier guns for sure can knock turrets off of these guns. Absolutely. Sconce, I talked for a long time there. Any thoughts come to you while I was rambling and kind of cruising through the comments.
No, it's all good. And I think the camos are pretty smexy. And like I said, torpedoes are so all or nothing that when it's nothing, it's really rough. I was having a conversation with Gaishu, I think about kind of torps and stuff. And he was mentioning, some people, they feel like they have a great game or the Shimikaze gets a weird situation where you'll have somebody that has 25,000 damage, but all they did in the entire game was land a single torpedo.
Yeah.
Now, does that really matter? Well, maybe they got 50,000 damage. Well, they landed 2 torpedoes. But again, did that matter? Did it change the game? And yet, if you look on like a stat site or something, PR-wise, they're looking like they've got fabulous PR because DDs often don't get very much damage. And yet all they did was 2 meaningless torpedo hits somewhere and, oh, well, I guess whatever. Yeah. And the Yodo, again, if you're dialing in on this concept of I'm going to throw some stuff and torpedoes being that, torpedoes are a skill shot, but there's so much wind-up time to it that you really can never be sure that it's going to matter. And worse, if somebody has hydro, it makes it even harder.
Yeah.
That you come down to the only consistent thing you have is the guns. And if they get through your torpedo soup and you're just like, well, I guess I'm going to open up on the guns, your DPM is not so great, so you're not going to make a meaningful impact that way. Interesting concept. Could be tooled around, I think, but is what it is.
Yeah, it's challenging, right? And some of those boats wind up being really fun, and some of them wind up being frustrating. Wixitron says the best way Yodo can participate is to stay in port and pick another ship. Thanks, Wix. I mean, that's going to be the opinion of a lot of people, though. So I don't think that's a poor reflection on what people think. But that's our talk on Yodo. We're going to say, hang on, where did we land? I said smash. You said trash with a veto. We are trashing Yodo. Here she goes.
This boat is trash.
Right. Hey, thanks for coming and being on the show with us today. AHSKANCE, was absolutely delightful to have you be a part of the least popular World of Warships show on YouTube. So thanks for joining us today. And chat, if you enjoyed having AHSKANCE here, please let him know. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please reach out and let AHSKANCE know that you appreciated him being a part of the show. And of course, let your friends know about this show. It is the least popular ship review show on YouTube, as far as I can tell. So it's always fun when people discover it. They tend to like it. So hopefully
we're sitting at 69 viewers, giggity.
Yeah.
So I figured, if chat wants to smash or trash AHSKANCE, how did I do? Did you enjoy having me on? Did you enjoy the hot takes? Hopefully, I don't think I had much of a chance to be too contrarian. No, so that was pretty spicy.
I think we got a pretty good run of ships. So I generated this list randomly, and then I made a few minor tweaks. I added a couple more carriers in there because I thought that'd be fun. And you might say something that I could learn from, and you did on a couple of them, which was good. And then I snuck in Alliance on purpose because I knew you had a good story there. And I was like, well, I want to hear this. I'm sorry to make you relive that traumatic moment.
Into the garbage disposal. No.
Which was pretty good. But it looks like, getting a couple of comments there in the chat about being glad that you came along to be a part of the show. So again, thanks everybody for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe. Check out the others. We have 3 other episodes of this on the YouTube channel. We've also got another show called Ship Show or Ship Talk. I think it's Ship Show. I can never remember what I named my own show, but where we do ship reviews. There's a new episode out right now about all the Black Friday ships that you can buy and some that you can't right now in 2025. So check that out on the channel. If you enjoy this, you can check out me at youtube.com/ClydePlays. That's probably where you are right now. If you're watching Twitch, of course, get on over there. If you're on YouTube, come hang out with us on twitch.tv/ClydePlaysLive. And AHSKANCE, I don't know if you've got things to plug, if you want to talk about your stream or where people can find you online.
I'm just generally around. I think I did my first stream in a long time yesterday because I wanted to, blow out the cobwebs and make sure that my internet and stuff all worked. But if I do start to stream more regularly, you can find me at twitch.tv/AHSKANCE. And I do have a YouTube that is just filled with more videos than you will ever watch. There are a lot of lesson videos. As far as the CV stuff, it's all still pretty current. There haven't been much in the way of changes.
Yeah, we've got I've got a shout out for you in the Twitch chat right now, and we'll include links to AHSKANCE's content in the YouTube description as well. I do recommend his YouTube channel if you're trying to learn about aircraft carriers, either how to do them or how to avoid the things that they're trying to do to you. I think I find his channel to be useful for both of those things. And then I'm hoping, and of course, no requirement or guarantees, but as we see the changes to the aircraft carriers coming here in the coming months, I think that's supposed to happen early next year. I don't know. Wargaming is being a little cagey. We might see you come back and spend a little more time on the game with
I
your
think
Twitch
it's
stream.
I think it's been in the stove for a long time, so eventually it's got to be cooked,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think so. I think they pushed it off to the new year, but we'll see it hopefully soon. But all right, thanks everybody. I'm going to hit this button, which is the end of the show, and then we'll hang out a bit more on Twitch. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching Smash or Trash. Don't forget to like and subscribe.